A brigade-sized Russian force, thousands of troops, armored vehicles positioned across tree lines and ruins, heavy artillery firing over 1,500 shells per day, and then a handful of Ukrainian Bradleys moved forward. Less than 1 hour later, Russian armor burning, reinforcement routes frozen, command rhythm broken. This wasn't a breakthrough. It was something more dangerous. It was tempo warfare. Here's what really happened. The fighting near Avdiivka wasn't a large offensive. It was a pressure zone. Russian forces had assembled a reinforced grouping, estimated between 2,300 and 2,600 personnel. Their strength was numbers, but their weakness? Dispersion. Units were spread across. Tree lines, industrial ruins, exposed approach roads. This reduced vulnerability to a single strike, but it weakened coordination. In the 12 days before contact, Russian formations had already lost dozens of vehicles, not in decisive battles, but during resupply runs, rotation, movements, position adjustments. Artillery remained heavy, but effectiveness dropped below 40%. Why? Because Ukrainian forces stopped being predictable, and that changed everything. The 47th Mechanized Brigade didn't treat the area as ground to defend. They treated it as a reaction trap. Their goal was not to hold territory. Their goal was to trigger Russian responses. Bradley YNFVs weren't used as breakthrough machines. They were used as tempo controllers. The plan was strict. Direct engagement under 27 minutes, distance between 1.1 and 1.6 kilometers, withdrawal pre-planned. No delay longer than 90 seconds at any phase. Why 90 seconds? Because that's how long Russian fire units needed to adjust accurate targeting. This wasn't aggression. It was mathematics. Before any Bradley moved, something more important happened. 9 continuous hours of UAV surveillance. 3 drone teams rotated to prevent fatigue. They tracked artillery firing cycles, relocation, patterns, reinforcement routes, response delays. Data showed Russian artillery required 5 to 7 minutes to detect movement and correct fire accurately. That became the attack window. Movement would happen inside 6 minutes, short enough to avoid precision correction, long enough to apply pressure. This was information dominance. At 8:02 a.m., the Bradleys advanced, not in a straight line. 2 broken routes, short, controlled pauses. Infantry dismounted in under 14 seconds, no clustering, no hesitation. Fan-shaped dispersion, reduced vulnerability. Russian artillery responded, but inaccurately. Around 70% of shells landed outside effective zones. Why? Because fire correction never stabilized. Ukrainian infantry only needed 80 to 110 meters to reach cover. Once they entered broken terrain, artillery risked friendly fire. The early kill window closed. At 8:11 a.m., Russian commanders reacted. 2 BTR-82s and a BMP advanced directly. Speed prioritized over protection. No smoke. No UAV. Screen. No infantry scouts. Linear movement. Predictable path. Bradley crews detected them early. First BTR disabled in under 20 seconds. Second destroyed shortly after. A missile strike eliminated another armored target. Within 3 minutes, the reinforcement element ceased to exist as a coordinated force. Speed without structure became vulnerability. The most critical moment wasn't the attack. It was disengagement. In modern combat, staying too long causes more losses than attacking. The pullback happened in 3 layers. Infantry moved first, vehicles provided suppression, final covering fire. Before full disengagement, Russian anti-tank missiles launched. 1 Bradley maneuvered and avoided impact. Another was damaged and immobilized. Here's what mattered. Crew survived. Recovery executed under fire. Extraction completed in under 3 minutes. No fatalities. Equipment can be replaced. Trained crews cannot. That was the difference. By 9:05 a.m., Ukrainian forces reappeared. Not as a defensive force, as a roaming threat. Bradleys paired with Abrams tanks, FPV drones, filled the airspace. Their job wasn't just to strike, it was to deny movement. Russian units now faced a dilemma: move and risk drone detection, stay still, and be mapped for later fire. Coordination slowed, tempo shifted. Confirmed Russian losses: 2 BTR-82 armored carriers, 1 BMP-IFV, 1 main battle tank, 90 to 120 troops, combat ineffective. Estimated financial impact: 22 to 28 million USD minimum. But the real cost wasn't vehicles, it was time. Russian forces halted large-scale movement for approximately 11 hours. 4 reinforcement routes were abandoned. Decision cycles slowed. Security measures expanded. Every movement now required additional screening. Tempo advantage transferred. And that is more valuable than territory. This wasn't about Bradleys being superior machines. It wasn't about armor thickness. It wasn't about firepower volume. It was about control of observation, timing, reaction windows, exit discipline. Ukraine didn't hold ground. They controlled time. And in modern warfare, forcing the enemy to react late can be more damaging than destroying a brigade. This engagement didn't redraw the map. It redrew tempo. In 21st century conflict, mass is vulnerable to speed, firepower is vulnerable to timing, and numbers are vulnerable to discipline. The question isn't who has more armor. The question is, who controls the clock? Because on today's battlefield, initiative is more lethal than artillery. If this breakdown gave you a deeper understanding, like the video and tell me in the comments, can tempo warfare defeat numerical superiority long-term? Chapters